and you will also see a agenda that's a web-based agenda in case we get too much traffic on the Google Doc. All right, just to kind of go through our housekeeping pieces and how the work is going to look today. We will display all the slides as we go so that you can sit and absorb and think through all of the content. And then know that all of those links are on the agenda, so you will not have to search through the slide deck later to come back and access something. So it should be very easy for you to come back and access whatever you need in your work after today. Splitting your screen today may be helpful. If you have, you could split and have the Zoom on one piece of your screen, one portion of your screen, and have the agenda on the other. It's up to you. We know it's difficult to navigate, especially if you're in your own space and only have a laptop screen. Splitting your screen may help navigating a little bit easier. Each presenter is included on the left side of the agenda, and know that as the recordings come through, they will be linked right to that side of the agenda. There is one portion of the meeting we will not be recording, so you will not see the MDE section. That will not be recorded. So you may want to take some notes during that section, but you will have the slides for that. Again, one form, making it easy for you. It's required at the end of the session. You don't have to answer all the questions, but please provide feedback. I think you'll see today a reflection of your feedback in our planning. Updates to the Literacy Essentials website, just wanting always to bring you back to that website as your one-stop shop for anything Literacy Essentials related and the coaching work we do. I will put this slide up and give you a minute. Think about how you want to manage your day today. Do you want the Slido on your phone? You could scan the QR code and keep it on your phone the whole time. Or would it be easier to go to slido.com and have a separate tab on your screen? So you take a minute, think about how you want to do that, scan that QR code. And once you're logged into the Slido, just review those norms of collaboration on this slide. Think about today, what you're going to focus on, and take a quiet minute to reflect on that. Please know in the Slido, the Q&A will be open the whole day. Enter any questions you have throughout any of the content today. We will sometimes be able to get back to it in the moment. Otherwise, we will circle back to it after the meeting and be able to reflect. All right, this is important today. Think about our working agreements. One of the biggest ones that will make our day virtually go smooth is if you continuously check your mute. Make sure that you're muted when we're in the main room and a presenter is sharing. Also, when you leave breakouts, you will be in breakouts today. When you leave them, sometimes you come back into the main room unmuted. I want you to be aware of that because some meetings do that and some meetings don't. So just take a second when you're re-entering from your breakout to make sure you're muted. We also have someone monitoring that from our team. So if we catch something, we'll be able to mute you so it doesn't disrupt the learning of today. Cameras on is always appreciated. If you're able to do that, we really want you to get to know each other and see your familiar faces throughout the day. Your breakout rooms really engage. So you will be in 4 breakout rooms today. These rooms are designed to get you cross-collaborating. So with people out of your ISD and out of your district, there are so many wonderful things happening across the state. You will get to share some of the things that you've been participating in and actively engaging in, and you will learn from others. The first two and the second two breakout rooms will have the same people in them. So that will allow you to get to know people a little bit and have a deeper discussion in our first section of content, and then again in our second section of content. Also, again, Slido feedback. If you have technical issues, put them into the chat. We have our team also monitoring the chat. That would be for technical issues though. Any kind of content pieces that you want us to think about, put in the Slido. And welcome your members when you get into those breakout rooms. tell them who you are, where you're from, how long you've been in your role. Just give them a little perspective and just enjoy the conversation. All right, just a minute to review where we are in the coaching trajectory. You know that as part of the funding to support coaches across the state, we have a coaching trajectory with several events, and you are currently in part of the quarterly series. Our routines are really thinking about the use of a coaching delivery model, data collection routines, which we'll revisit briefly this morning. And those feedback routines are important to us in planning, including Slido. Oh, here is a look at the agenda for today. It looks like we may have a little typo on today, but it should say unpacking. So the two bullets there should say unpacking PA 146. So we'll have MDE present, unpacking PA 146, the professional learning and coaching language. We are welcoming back and excited about Dr. Allison Fox-Resnick from the Institute. I'm going to give you a little warning that Dr. Fox-Resnick texted me this morning, and like all of us navigating life, she has a 2-year-old who is sick at home. So her 2-year-old will likely be sleeping, but if there is any interruption, we have a plan. So I just want to give her some grace and let you know that right now. And then you have your targeted learning session this afternoon. We will be returning in May in person in your regions for a part 3 of the assessment literacy work. We'll get a preview of a project we've been working on called Reaching Every Reader. And then you'll have a lot of collaborative experience to culminate the learning of the network this year. When you are together in that region, you will be interacting in person. And that was based on the feedback from the fall in-person meeting. So please know we're in deep planning on what that will look like. All right, we've got our roles and our people on here, our MAISA team. Many of them are on the call right now, have helped and really dedicated time to the planning this session. So just want you to see the faces and know the names. All of our tools, our MAISA tools, just please remember we've got our My Coach Compass, My Strategy Bank that Erin Powell supports, EduCast modules, my read, and of course the literacyessentials.org. One-stop shop here. The biggest tool you should have in your toolbox is this coaching network landing page. When you go to the website, you'll go to the landing pages tab, and we continually update this with all of the agendas, with all of the resources and support, our newsletters that come out after these meetings. Make sure you've got this bookmarked somewhere or easy to access. Then you don't have to go searching an email or an old agenda to find things. Another reminder here, that coaching cycle data collection project, we are beginning to collect submissions. So the link on here will take you right to the directions sheet. I believe you've received some documents to look at in the meantime, probably from coach coordinators. I just kind of highlighted this at the bottom in purple, that My Coach Compass users have directions linked and how to download their reports, but everything should be emailed to Dr. Susan Lallier following your coach coordinator's direction. So whatever the system is in place within your ISD, follow that and submit between January 1st and June 12th. So know that this will be a topic of conversation at the spring meeting as well, to think about what some of those reports look like and polishing some pieces off. But you are welcome to submit anytime between now and June 12th. Another routine we've established, this has been really well received. You have a newsletter after each quarterly with all the recordings, the highlights from the meeting. This is something I highly encourage you to share with your colleagues who want to see and learn some of the content that you're learning. So this would give them a brief overview of what we did and access to the recordings. So you don't have to share the whole agenda. Say you're working with a team of teachers and you want them to hear the same presentation you heard. This could give a nice, concise picture. It also is great for our GELN directors, administrators, anyone who wants to know, what is this quarterly all about? What are you learning? A few upcoming events to highlight and the release of our coaching network dates for next year. So this spring we have coming up, the first thing coming so very soon is February 18th, our literacy framework series. It is a 2-part series and you will have a ton of team time. So you will be encouraged to bring a team to that. You will need to register by February 16th in order to be able to participate in that. We had such amazing feedback from the first series we did in the fall. We have about 170 participants signed up and even more with some ISDs hosting multiple groups. If you're interested in having your ISD host, you can reach out to myself or Heather or Kaylani Dunsmore, and we can help you organize what that could look like. Early Literacy and Math Essentials instructional rounds, the flyer and registration link is there for March 5th and 6th. There is also a wait list that would provide you as an email kind of listserv of when future opportunities come up. So if you are interested in that or learning labs on our website, you could click one of those links and put yourself on a future mailing list so you understand when opportunities come so you can plan out a bit better. And then Heather Phelps has been working with our team on the essential practices for grades 4 and 5, the trainings for that. You have been receiving some information, but the flyer and registration link is also here. So these are our spring events. We're really excited about what's to come and how this will help us and your teams think about what next year looks like. And then pay attention to those coaching network dates, save them on your calendars now. You will likely receive an invite from me as well. Once we have our listserv all updated and ready to go, I will likely wait till the May meeting to create an invite. So you might just want a holding place on your calendar, and then you'll get a formal invite from me in May. Annual Institute, there have been lots of questions coming in. We tried to create as detailed a process for you to follow. There's a flyer there, a registration link. I'm not going to go through all of this, but please know that we are trying to be conscientious about cost of hotel rooms. If your ISD is within an hour and a half drive of the venue, you will be approved for a hotel room, and there's a form to fill out. Please know that if you work at a district that is further away than your ISD, you can submit from your place of work to the venue Lansing Center. So we've had a couple interesting things come up where maybe the ISD is an hour and 15 minutes away, but the school that person works at is an hour and 45. We don't want to restrict you from being able to come, but we just need you to know that if it's a drivable distance, then we won't cover the hotel room. So we're being flexible about that. Contact us with any questions, but that should really be your guideline from your ISD or from your main school that you work at. All right, this is the most exciting part that I'm just happy to share. So in our room today, in our session today, we have the Michigan Department of Education, the entire literacy consultant team. We have Denisha Rawls-Smith, who you will hear from shortly, who is the head of the literacy unit. And we are so excited to share this learning as partners with our
ones. I'd like to start by sharing a little bit about my experience with the Committee for Literacy Achievement. So good morning to all of you. So far, Michelle has shown us how different roles support the work across the state, and Anisha has provided insight into the process for determining assessments and curricula currently on the list. I'd like to expand on that. Since last spring, I've had the pleasure of serving on the Committee for Literacy Achievement, or CLA team. I want to take a moment to pull back the curtain on what the experience was actually like. For those who might imagine a small group of MDEs sitting in a room making decisions in a silo, the reality is quite different. What struck me most wasn't the meetings, but the people. I found myself surrounded by dedicated professionals with a passion for literacy, and even more so, a passion for children. This is a community with perspectives ranging from classrooms to districts to ISDs to universities, organizations, and state level departments, all working to support the legislative requirements and, most importantly, the educators and students of Michigan. And several of those people are in the Zoom with us today. I also want to touch on the how. This wasn't just a casual undertaking. We operated under a tight process with transparent rubrics guided by PA 146. This framework, which is available publicly on the MDE website, informed our every move. We committed an extensive amount of time and attention to detail to ensure that evaluations were fair, consistent, and rigorous. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that we have done. We've built a foundation that I truly believe can move the needle for literacy and the students that we serve here in Michigan. And with that, I just want to name that website again. If you are interested in seeing more on that website, you'll see the chart that shows the dates that are coming up, the process that was used for vendors to be able to submit, as well as the list. And if you go to those lists, those scoring documents for the curricula are included, as well as the assessment. So again, that website is here. It's also on our agenda. I'm going to take us into the next portion for the rest of this hour about what, why, and how. So we will be examining specific timely resources related to PA 146, including the PA 146 professional learning resource document that Denisha referred to. As we continue to move forward in our implementation of PA 146, it's important to have shared learning around foundational resources and the requirements of the law. Our quarterly meetings are a time for us to come together and do some of that. So we'll be doing that today. And you as participants in this network have specifically asked for this type of support and time together. We will do that with both a personal reflection protocol as well as group reflection protocol. So some key points when you are reading the law and associated documents. First, pay attention to key terms such as must, shall, may, or all. These words are very distinct, and they are distinction between these terms that matter. So words are used very intentionally in the law, so you'll want to look out for those key words. Also, read it like an outline. So we see the number 1 here. Each time that it changes, like here with the A, means think of it as an indentation and that falls under that section. Again, we see here where there's a new indicator for the bullet. That means it's going to indent and be under that A. So when we look at this section, this whole bracket is under A. And this A through D is under part 2. And all of this is under subsection 1. So think of it like an outline. In addition, key terms are often defined, whether that's in the footnotes of the legislation or law, or whether that's right in the law itself. So for example, as we look at that document around the professional learning, some terms that come up are MTSS or structured literacy. We want to know exactly what is intended within the law. And so please look at those terms whenever you're looking at legislative documents. I also want to name that our goal for today is to be more knowledgeable, not all-knowing. And what we do today is going to take us a step deeper, a step further in our knowledge, but there's still always so much to know and to dig into as we go further. And we're hoping that today gives you a process that you can take back to do by yourself or with teams or with those you serve. So to begin, we're going to start with that PA 146 Professional Learning Resource document, and we're going to start with a protocol called New. And in the agenda, you will find a link to the Professional Learning Resource document. I'll show you my own in a moment. And things that we knew or thought we knew already, we're going to highlight in green, and not everything. We just particular things that stand out to you that you knew this and it's been reaffirmed, that will be in the bright green. And things that are new to you or are going to be new to those you serve and are important for you to share, we'd like you to highlight those in yellow. So when you click on your document, mine is linked there. We'll do a forced copy from the one on the agenda, so please make that forced copy so that you can highlight right on it. But when you open up the document, this professional learning resource, as Denisha shared earlier, is a resource to help us understand how we might provide professional learning around Section 7. And you'll see the links at the top. You'll see along the left-hand side that we have it tabbed for your introduction, the purpose, and who it's intended for, the dyslexia definition, and then the professional learning resources. On the screen, you can see an example of where I've used this new protocol. So I highlighted this section here that talks about how Section 7 really is about delivering evidence-based literacy instruction aligned with the science of reading. That's one thing that I knew. Something that maybe might be new to those I serve is that this needs to be in place in the 27, no later than the 27-28 school year. Or they may know that it's the characteristics of dyslexia and secondary consequences of dyslexia, but maybe not that it's about MTSS as well, and that that's an important piece of this learning. As you go through this document, I'd like you to shift slightly when you get down to the professional learning resources. So as Denisha shared earlier, the way that this is outlined is you'll see the different sections, different components of Section 7 on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you're going to see the resources that MDE has recommended can help you meet that element. If it is something that you are that you are familiar with and know, and it's something that you may be using locally, go ahead and highlight that with the green or something you know or new. If it is a document that perhaps you are not familiar with and you're interested in going deeper, highlight that in yellow. And with that, going to again make sure that on the agenda you pull up and make a forced copy. We're going to ask that you turn off your camera for the next 10 minutes and do a new protocol, highlighting the parts that are new to you in green and the parts that are new, NEW, to you in yellow. When we come back, you're going to have a chance to debrief with a group protocol in breakout rooms. So go ahead and turn off those cameras and we'll take 10 minutes to look at this document.
Document is in the chat, on the agenda, and in the slides. So wherever you can find it, click on it.
The main room, if you can double check that you are muted, that is super beneficial and helpful. All right. So on the agenda, we do know that there was an issue with the document being too large. And so with too many people on it, so we have tried to fix that for the next round. So thank you for that feedback. We always appreciate that. On the screen, you're going to see a screenshot of a document. You may have noticed as you went through that there were some resources in the resources that were listed that were duplicated in various areas. And so this is a chart that just helps to capture some of that. It's not anything official. It's something that we put together at MAISA that we thought might be beneficial for you. Again, that's linked in the agenda. Also, Denisha had shared earlier about the website, about the dyslexia law website. There's a second website where this document is located, and that's under the professional learning. And so you'll find that link on the agenda as well. And it's really important to always go here. So some of you may notice that they updated the document at the end of last week, and we created this document at the end of last week as well, just before they had switched and updated a link. And so if you found a broken link, always go back because they're continuously updating and revising that. So always go to the website, but you also have that version now that you can go through and see your highlighted changes. We're going to do the same process again, one more time with a little less direction from me, but we're going to follow that same exact process since you've been through it once. This time we're going to focus in on the language around coaching. So there's been a lot of questions around coaching and it directly impacts you. So we want to spend some time for you to actually look at what the law says. That language has been pulled just for ease and categorized on a document on the agenda called the PA 146 coaching language. As stated earlier, MDE is looking to create a coaching model for grades K-12, and we saw that on Denisha's slide. So we are going to ask you to do a forced copy again. So when you click on it, you're going to get a forced copy, and we're going to ask that you take 7 minutes, turn off the camera, thinking about the coaching language. What did you knew? KNEW. What did you know? Not new. Sorry about that. And what is new to you? Highlighted in yellow. 7 minutes. We will come back. And the thoughtfulness that you took both on your own, reflecting in your own, but also as you were able to engage with your colleagues. So we really appreciate this time that we've spent together. And with that, I am going to take us to Slido and break. So we will be coming back to be with Dr. Allison Fox-Resnick at 10:30. During that time, if you could please respond to the Slido, uh, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
And also, if you could drop the link to your notes, your forced copy notes in the chat, we will collect those and that will help us guide the next conversation about the coaching work.